So you said you go to Africa twice a year, right?
No, this year I'm going. I'm going twice. This is my first time going twice. I was supposed to go to Egypt at the end of this year. 'Cause first I'm supposed to be going to South Africa, which I'm going in November. But since my sister's having trouble with my older nephew, um, I plan to go get him so I could deliver him to his father. His father's still here in New York, where I'm at, because my sister cannot handle him. Um, you
And
know,
and there is no male figure in Africa with them.
my sister's on her own, just her and the
Okay.
4 kids, her girl, her daughter, and the 3 boys. And that's a whole totally different culture, over there. Um, I really didn't want my sister to leave the States. If she didn't leave the States, even though her husband wouldn't help her financially, I would have helped her financially, because that's what I was doing when she was here. I kept her from being homeless and them not, they didn't have heat in the house and the lights turn off. I kept that on.
Okay.
I'm her big brother. This is my baby sister. She went through a very nasty divorce. I went down to the courthouse with her. I kept the kids with me when she was going to school. So that's when she go over to Egypt, she could teach English, because over there they want to learn English. So, my sister told me last week about how she can't not control her son, that his father said he would take him. I said, okay, get his suitcase ready. I'll come over. I had my first vacation, and I would, get him and deliver him to his father and everything. I'm not really cool with his father because of how the way he treated my sister and his kids.
So why would
Because,
you feel comfortable with dropping your nephew off over there? I don't understand that.
well, there's something inside me. It's like I said, still again, being a 50-year-old, there's something inside me that talks to me, said, listen, you got to be the bigger man here. And this ain't the first time. This is something a man or a woman has to study and craft and master it. Because it amazed me at times, because I had to ask myself, well, when did you become like this? And I said, you are maturing.
But
And
I
that's a
don't
good.
understand. That has nothing to do with immaturity. I mean, for the most part, you're saying you don't like the way he has treated his kids as well. So you trust him with your nephew?
I would have to trust him with my nephew, because not only that, Soncerae, this is an opportunity
Hmm.
to be with my nephew. So I could take him through manhood training. When I had him over here, I had them marching in formation, even my niece. And I took him
How,
down to the park.
how many kids did you say? How many of them total? The kids?
4, one
It's
girl,
4.
Miriam, she's the oldest, and you got 3 boys,
And
Abdallah,
and they
Ibrahim, and Imran.
and they all have the same father.
Yes, Imran was born. The baby was born in Africa. The other 3 was born here in the States.
Okay. And the father lives in New York with you.
Yes,
Okay. Okay. I just
yes,
want to make sure I understand.
yes.
Um,
So I mean, this is an opportunity now. I could be with my nephew, because I want to talk to his father. Like I said, man to man, and I'll be the bigger man. Listen, I like to spend some time with my nephew. You could drop him off on the weekend. And I plan to take him and get with some other brothers that I'm going to get in touch with here in New York, called Fathers in the Hood. And these brothers, they doing some great work working with these young guys, working with gangs and everything. Because
okay.
listen, either you're going to be a talker or a doer. Now, back in the day, I was just like everybody else, talking. Now I'm doing. 2017 is doing. Last year was doing. It was rough, but this is the new thing, because I have another vacation coming up in the summertime. I'm going down to Georgia to go see my grandnieces and nephews. And this will be my second time. I want to be in their life. So I don't have no choice. If Soncerae, if I had a queen here in my house, I would take custody of my nephew and raise them myself. But since I'm single and I'm by myself and I have to go out and work, it'll be very hard and difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
Now
I get it.
his father just recently got married. He just have a brand new baby girl. So, and he's been sick off and on. So he had trouble sending money to my sister because he was sending money to her over there. And lately, she been really struggling because she hasn't been getting that money. You know, so at times I send money wherever I can.
Can't
Whenever
you
I
like
can.
you know what I notice about a lot of people who are from Africa, especially Nigerians? What they do is they come here, and I think the money is different. The currency here is different. So if I don't know the difference though, to where it's our money is more valuable. So I could take, $5,000 from America and take it to Nigeria and live a completely different way. So is that like you've been to Africa and America? What's the difference in currency?
They're going by the British pound. I could live the job I have. I could live like a king over there. Cause my sister, when she was doing good, she had white servants in her house catering
Okay.
to her. It's an Islamic country. It's a
Okay.
very different animal. Um, my sister, we born here. We Native American. You know, but you could live like you could live very good over there because they're going by the British pound, and that amazed me when I went over there. You know, so me going in March, this be my second time going to Egypt.
I would totally go with you. Do you know I ain't never been to Africa?
Listen, you had to go because it's a spiritual experience. I went there and touched the pyramids
Well,
and
that's what
touched the
I wanted
Sphinx.
to do. I've always had a fascination with Egypt. I love Egypt, right? But when I used to date someone who was from Nigeria, he used to always say, "You'll never survive in Africa because it's too hot." Now, I don't like heat, but that doesn't mean I won't survive in Africa. But he keeps saying, "I will not be able to survive there." But I always had this fascination with Egypt, and I've always wanted to see the pyramids. And
Yeah.
I might make that trip one day, you know?
Well, I mean, we could do something like that. That brother is incorrect about the heat. Okay, because heat is two different things. Yes, it's hot over there, but over here it's hot and humid. And I had many Africans that's darker than me complain about the heat over here, and I said I love it. You
So
know,
so it's not humidity over there. It's
right? It's no right, exactly. Me, I love it hot and humid because I was watching my niece yesterday put up some videos, and she's on the outskirts of Atlanta. And I seen him with no shirt on and everything. And I said, Dad, I wish I was down south. This is where I need to be. I don't like cold weather. It's freezing up here in New York and it's gray. You know, I think about in retirement, either I'm gonna move to South Carolina, my mother's and father's state, or Georgia or Florida.
Well, I tell people all the time, you do not want to move to Atlanta. Everybody
No,
thinks
I'm
that
not.
moving to Atlanta is like this wonderful thing. I keep trying
No.
to tell people, you don't want to be here.
Yeah, well, I've been to Atlanta. I want to live in the suburb. I'm a suburbanite.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
live in
like
the suburbs.
Stone Mountain. I've been to Stone Mountain. I loved it.
Stone Mountain is not the suburbs anymore. This is what's happening. Because Atlanta is starting to be this huge city where everybody's starting to move here because it's getting huge. It's getting big and big. The traffic here is so bad because so many people are starting to fill the city up.
Okay.
And it wasn't as bad before. It's bad like that now. And what's
Yeah.
happening is all of the people that were stuffed in Atlanta, they're starting to move out. So Stone Mountain used to be a beautiful place. Okay, it
Yeah.
used to be beautiful, but then you got all these city folk moving out further out. So then
Yeah.
I moved further out to Norcross. Norcross is like kind of northeast, and Stone Mountain is southeast. But
Yeah.
then everybody started moving out northeast. And so it's getting bigger. It's starting to be more like the city in the suburban areas
Okay.
because it's spreading out. So if you want to live in Georgia, you have to live somewhere like Buford, um,
Okay.
McDonough. You know, when you think in suburbia, think further out because you look at Stone Mountain is close to Atlanta. Just
Yeah,
do a radius further out.
yeah,
Okay. Just
where my niece live at, I liked where she was living at Riverdale.
okay. The problem with Riverdale now, people always say Riverdale. They always say I want to live in Clayton County because they know so many people who live in Clayton County. Me, on the other hand, I'm not fancy about living around a predominantly black area. I like multicultural areas.
Okay.
Riverdale is predominantly black. So
Hmm.
that's my thing. And that's southwest of Atlanta. I live way on the other side of town. Okay.
Yeah,
Now the cost of living there is okay, because
yeah,
it's predominantly black. So the cost of living you're gonna love. But you're gonna be surrounded by a lot of black people. And I don't like that. I like to see different people. And you're
yeah.
from New York. So
Yeah, but that's beautiful because I'm the same way. I don't mind living in a predominantly black area or a mixed area. Being raised out here in the suburb of Long Island, I lived in those areas before where we lived in areas where there was more whites than black. Okay, we lived in areas of Long Island that was all black, and it was a different animal back in the '70s because you know, growing up in Roosevelt, Long Island with Public Enemy, um, if you got sick 1 o'clock in the morning, you had a black doctor coming across the street with his bag to see what was wrong with you. We had black detectives. Everybody back then looked out for one another. If I was doing something wrong, Mr. Johnson would say, "Come here," and he'll get his belt and he'll spank my behind.
yeah,
Now,
they don't do that no more.
if I go back to my mother and my stepfather said, "Mr. Johnson spanked me," my mother said, "Well, you're gonna get another spanking because you did something wrong," you know. But getting back to these children, I want to be in my nieces and nephews' life. You know, I have nephews that's old, that's taller than me. They got kids. You know, I'm here to help because that's the way I grew up. You know, and I'm glad that my nephew's coming back because now I could groom him and give him the skills, and so that way he had two fathers. And this is my thing. I was thinking I would like to be successful in doing investments, but I just seek out some real good sisters. Three sisters that have two children, a boy and a girl. And I would like for us to all together work together and create a family and then seek out other sisters and brothers. Because to me, a little boy and a little girl should have three mothers and three fathers. So that way you always have somebody there to guide you. So that way it becomes a community and you're building a nation.
Why three
Yeah.
and not
Huh?
why three and not seven or two?
It could be. I'm just using that as a number. It could be two. It could go up. So because I'm thinking like this, something has to be done. Because I'm around people that just keep on talking and talking, and it'll go years and years. And I tell them many times, what are we going to do about it? Okay, we know what the problem is. When are we going to get together, bro? Let's meet and get together. And then you come to them, yo, I thought you were going to get together with me on this. Oh man, I had something to do. Then my ears start clogging up. Because now you full of doo-doo. You like to complain, but you ain't doing nothing. So I said, you know what, man, stop with yourself.
Hmm. I think that
Start
I
with your
I see that a lot. I see a lot of black men talk about the problems of the community, and they don't necessarily come together to help the black
yeah, but
men. I mean,
also the
help
women,
the community.
also the women's too. So I mean, it's both sides. So I have a very low tolerance for that now. I've been patient for years. Now it's time to do something.
I do a lot of community service events, right? I do one every month
Hmm.
for it's called Good in the Hood.
Yeah.
And if you've been watching my channel, you see me promote, or if you've even looked on my Instagram, you'll see the Good in the Hood flyer. And
Yeah.
the next month we're doing Black History Month theme.
Yes.
This month we did coats and mittens.
Hmm.
All last year and the year before that, I did this thing called community compilation, and this is where the me being homeless rumor came from, because I kept promoting catering to the homeless, and for some reason people put the two together and thought I was homeless because I was driving around a lot. But
Yeah.
doing that taught me a lot. It helped a lot, because and it also helped my daughter, because my daughter didn't understand. I would take her and her boyfriend out there with me, and the reason why my daughter's relationship with her boyfriend was running so smooth is because he really doesn't have a relationship with his father. He has a stepfather, but they don't
Yes.
really have a smooth situation. But when I would bring him to the catering to the homeless event, and he would see other volunteers and other community people, he would see
Yes.
how they operate as men and start mimicking that behavior. So one thing that my daughter said to
Yes.
me that shocked me, she just said it to me the other day. She said she didn't know that homeless people were smart until she did the catering to the homeless community
Uh-huh.
compilation event with me, because she got to meet a whole bunch of homeless people. See, a lot of people think a lot of men, because it's more men on the street than it
Yeah.
is women. So a lot of, and it was pregnant homeless women out there with kids out there just in the street. And I was just like, how are you even homeless like this? But they have so many shelters for men. They have men's shelters and women's shelters, but they have shelters that are mixed, and a lot of these women get raped and all types of stuff. But
Yeah.
the men out there, my daughter was surprised that, number one, it was so many men out there, and number two, that these people are actually intellectual people. She thought homeless people must be dumb or must be,
Hmm.
nah, it's there have it was a former athlete, a former NBA player out there one month. He came out, and
Yeah.
everybody was looking at him like, damn, number one, he fine. Number two, he tall as hell. So we got to talking to him, and so many things can happen in the lives of men, that domino effect, to that make men, go through certain experiences, and you know, they don't have the support of a brother or uncle or a homeboy to stop them from being on the street to begin with. It's a lot of men out there who are mentally unstable. It was
Yes.
when we used to bring nurses and stuff out there to administer like medications to these men. We would have to give them condoms and stuff, because a lot of them were having sex and being promiscuous just to take away the pain of
Yeah.
them actually being homeless. Then you had other men out there who were drunk all the time because they used alcohol and drugs to numb the pain of them being homeless. So it's just, as a man, and you're seeing all of these things happening to black men, how are you okay with it? Because I had a man say that he wasn't going to participate in any community events where you're cleaning up the community, because it's not his job to be cleanup man. You see?
Listen, listen. I used to have that mindset. I used to give out money and stuff, but I stopped. New York is a different animal. We got homeless black men and black women, young and old. There's a whole gang of teenage girls. When I come off of work, 1 o'clock in the morning at the train station, and they go ask for money. Some, unfortunately, probably out there tricking. Um, I talked to them. I said, how you doing, young lady, young man? And I told him, I said, listen, all y'all are in the same situation. Why don't y'all band together and see if you could create something to generate money legally? I mean, like collecting bottles or something. You know, I'm seeing men and women, especially a lot of black women my age, that's homeless. New York is terrible because I had to watch my back because you see some people get robbed. Me myself, I've been homeless twice. I was homeless here in New York, and I was homeless in Philadelphia, but I never asked nobody for nothing. I got up, collect bottles, went out and sold soda and beer at Coney Island down at the ocean, and kept on looking for work. It was hard. It was very hard. And I told quite a few people you could do the same thing to try to help yourself. A lot of brothers don't want to hear that, and they get mad and everything because they couldn't get money from you. And I said, if I give you money, I'm not helping you. I'm just helping you to beg for more money. But I said, if you're hungry, I'll go buy you something to eat, brother. But they don't want to hear that, you know. So once they start getting, you know, pissed off and want to get violent, it's time for me to walk away because you're wasting my time now, you know. But there is some educated people that's homeless, and you also got educated and intellectual people inside the jailhouse too, you
Well,
know.
yeah, that's very true.
So it's just that the media be stereotyping, you know, people that's less fortunate and everything.
I mean, some people. I made this video one time about black men who were thugs, and I said that the reason why some black women are attracted to black men who are dope dealers and thugs is because these men um, are intellectual to some degree. And people were like, how could you call a drug dealer smart? Now, here's my thing. They can do dumb shit.
Yeah,
Dealing drugs dumb as fuck. It's illegal, right? But
yeah,
it takes a lot of skill. It takes a lot of strategic thinking in order for you to run the streets. You
yep,
don't, and we're talking about business here. We're not talking about you nickel and diming $10 bags of weed. We're talking about dealing coke kilos, drug
yep,
lord type of situation. It takes skill to manage that type of business.
yep.
And
Mathematics.
exactly. So when I say that, people are shocked. Then when I talk about people who are in prison, anytime I've met a man who has went to prison, a black man, we're not going to use all men. We're going to talk about black men. Any
Yeah,
man I've ever met in a prison, when we get to sitting down talking, this man teaches me so much. It's so strange because I guess in prison you ain't got shit else to do but learn.
yep.
When they get out of prison, I know guys that know other languages. A friend of mine taught me Islamic language. I'm like, how in the hell do you know Hebrew, dude? Like, what? And I was surprised that he had this other thing. Now, when you're looking at black men with these stereotypes, how do black men get outside of the stereotype of them being thugs and dope dealers when in fact some of them are intelligent? That's my question.
How did they get outside?
How does a black man get outside of the stereotypes? What does he have to do in order to convince society that that's not who he is?
Well, first of all, you have to convince society, excuse my language, shit to them.
Mm.
Okay. First of all, like I said, the only thing you have to do is clean up your act, try to stop a business. Don't even go back into that kind of lifestyle. I had friends that was big time drug dealers, and they got out just before the cops got on them. They took that drug money and started to open up businesses and stuff. These are two brothers. You know, this is out in Long Island. This is not the city. This is the suburbs. You know, and I didn't know that they was dealing until later on. They said, yeah, you know, we used to deal. My sister was one of my best customers. You know,
His sister? His
yeah,
own sister?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. She died. She died because she got, you know, HIV up in her body. My two brothers was career criminals. Both of them was smart, especially the oldest. He was a straight A student, and he was an artist just like me. You know, but I guess the streets called to them, and it was strong. You know, it had a, you know, they let the streets get to them. Me, I guess it was a blessing that they went through this because I see what they're doing, and not only that, they came and talked to me. They said, "Listen, this is not the way to go, man. Stay in school, get your lessons. The penitentiary is not for you. It's a highly dangerous place. It's going to change you." And my brother brought home friends that was they just got out of prison, and he said, "This guy here, armed robbery. This guy here, he killed a couple of people." And they talked to me. And then I had other men on the outside that work a regular 9 to 5, like my brother-in-law. You know, come on and work with me. And he talked to me at age 16. My ears was open, and he said, "You're doing the right thing by going to school, keeping out of trouble and everything." 'Cause my mother always says it's easy to get in trouble, but it's hard to get out of it. So what I learned from, I carry what these elders, a lot of them passed away. I carry this, and now I'm going to send straight down to my nephews. That's why I want my nephew close to me, so any situation come up, I can handle it. I have a nephew right now that just texts me. He's 43 years old. Okay, he's in a nursing home. He's paralyzed straight down. They say he have MS. I'm still mentoring him, and he's a recovering drug addict. And I lean on him. I give some tough love. I say, yo, you need to man out. Every woman you had a relationship with, you jacked it up. You went out here and became homeless and everything, and on drugs. Now I'm here. I'm your uncle. I love you, man. I want to see you do better. Cause I said, you don't see me out there in the street acting the fool. And I tell my nieces the same thing. The guy you with, this guy going in and out of jail, this is not good for the children. It's not good for your daughters. It's not good for your sons. I'm your uncle. I love you. And I'm going to tell you things even you don't want it. So my nephews, they hide from me. Because they say, oh, here come the crazy uncle. Because I told them, come here. Sit down. What are you doing with your life?
Do you think there is a better way for you to get their attention? Keep their attention? So they won't run from you when you come to them on this positive tip?
I don't know. I'm straight cut dry. I'm not, because one thing I learned, if you come at them soft, it goes one ear, come out other. Especially with males. Males are bullheaded.
Well, this goes back to me talking about men who come onto YouTube to try to inspire other brothers. When you're talking to other men, I guess you could have that kind of harsh vocabulary because men are hard-headed. But when you're trying to address women, or like you're trying to address your nieces, do you talk to them the same way that you talk to your nephews?
Yes, because I also see hard-headedism with them. But I told them, I'm not trying to tell you to hurt you. I'm telling you with love. Because I said you should look at my life and see that your uncle's not locked up. Your uncle's jumping on a jet, going to places that he never been. My their grandmother, she was out there drunk and acting a fool. Your aunts and uncles, they wasn't out there acting a fool. So why are you doing this? And and if they explain to me, why they doing, I said, okay, dude, we got to work on this. Do you want to work with this? And the first thing I asked my niece and nephew, do you love yourself? You ask any black person, do you love yourself? Okay, at one time I didn't love myself. I had to learn. I had to learn and master it. And today, I love myself. And excuse my language, I don't give a fuck what anybody think about me or what they say about me, because I know who I am.
Well, right now, everybody in here is like, we love this guy. He's an inspiration. And someone in New York said they want to link up with you, so I gave her your email address.
That's cool. That's cool. Because we could do something.
So if you're wondering what I'm doing while you're talking, I'm looking at them talk. Because I know you don't want to look at
Yeah. There's another sister I listen to on YouTube. She's in Brooklyn, Shanika Bailey. And she be talking about the same issue. And she's also talking about nation building.
Oh, speaking of this, I'm sorry. Someone came into the chat and said something about Elijah Muhammad. Tonight at 7, Eli Muhammad from the new Black Panther Party in Virginia will be on my show, and we're going to talk about the armed march in Wilmington, North Carolina. So if anybody wants to tune into that Google Hangout, he and I will be talking about that, which it's an honor to me that someone from the Black Panther Party is even interested in talking to me. He saw my channel and said that he wanted to address women's issues and things of that nature. So I really, if you want to watch that, please tune into that. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll be at my job watching you.
Oh, you gonna watch it?
Yeah, I'll be watching you and other people while I'm on my job. I'm a train mechanic. I fix the trains.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Listen, I just became a train mechanic about 6 years ago. Okay, I started off cleaning the trains, being a janitor. This is why I get on my nephews. I try to get my nephews up and I say, yo, get your diploma and uncle will pull you in. They didn't do that. So, you know, I had to take my elbow and lean into their shoulder. So, man, you're effing up, you know,
Their high school
because the
diploma?
whole thing, huh?
Their high school diploma you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yes. So, you know, this is a big change for me because I've been doing janitorial work all my life. I'm a third generation janitor. When my mother died in 1996, and when she was laying up in that casket, I didn't have no job. I was on welfare. I was looking for work. And after she had passed, that's when I became homeless. You know? But I placed my hand on top of my mother's hand when she was laying in that casket. And I said, Mom, I am going to do better with my life, and I'm going to improve my life. And that's what I've been doing. I had worked at 2 full-time jobs, working 7 days a week. I got my behind up. I had many doors slamming my face, but I never gave up because I carried my mother and my ancestors on my back. So I got this job and everything. I've been working for 13 years. They have a program. They'll send you to school. It ain't gonna cost you nothing. So I became a repairman, and that's when the challenges came in, because the people in your class that knew you as a janitor, we all leaving janitorial. This is where the haters start coming in, want to see you fail. Slide marks. And everything.
Can you tell us about your masks back there?
Let me just move to the side. My place looked like a museum. I collect a lot of art, and a lot of it is my jewelry. This mask here that I'm pointing to.
You got to move the camera down. We can't see. You moved it up too high.
How's that?
Okay, leave it right there. Now go.
Now, this mask here comes from Haiti. Okay? This is my sister, and these 2 masks right here is my sister down in Richmond, Virginia. She worked with clay. Right now, she's in Africa because she have a moringa herb farm over in Ghana. So she made these 2 masks for me. I met her on Facebook. I had met the sister in New York City at an art show, and I supported her because it's about supporting Black. And these masks here come from my mothering store, my Nigerian mothering, up in Harlem, called African Paradise. But my whole room has nothing but masks and stuff. And right here, this is my artwork. These are my paintings. I'm trying to get back into my art. I don't know if you can see them real good.
Oh my God, you drew that? You painted that?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Now I'm gonna bring it to the other one. Hold on for a minute. I'm gonna turn the light on so you can see. I'm just gonna bring the camera up. This is my artwork. Soncerae.
What?
When you stay away from bullshit, these are the things you could create. And this is why I teach my nieces and nephews. When you stay away from stupidism, world star, hip hop bullshit, you could do something beautiful. Listen, I had the opportunity to join gangs. I had the opportunity to rape women.
Slow down. You're moving the camera too fast. We can't see.
Can you see it now?
Go back to the right.
This is my jewelry, you see. Can you see it?
Yes. Okay, stop. Okay, explain all of that. What?
This is my jewelry. This is my paradise. This is my domain. I keep things that's positive all around me. So when I go outside, I got my armor on. Okay, I'm slowly bringing it around so y'all can see. I'm surrounded by art. I'm surrounded by spirituality. I'm surrounded by goodness.
Wow.
Beauty. I beautified my place. So when I come home from the stress, hold on for me. I'm gonna turn the camera real fast. I'm gonna show you my altar. This is my altar. That's my mother right there. This is my sister that died 2 years ago in Myrtle Beach. That's another. She changed my life too, because that's the first time I watched somebody die. We watch her die. You know, these are the goddesses and the gods that I worship. You're actually looking at my altar. So I have my ancestral stuff up here. And
You got to tell me more about the goddesses that you worship, because we were talking about that before, and I guess you didn't want to tell me because I'm Buddhist.
nope, I had nothing against Buddhists. I'm just open minded. Um,
You are a
I
very
worship.
talented artist. You are.
Sister, we all have a talent. My brothers was talented the same way, but like I said, the streets got them. You know, me seeing the mistakes growing up that all men and women had made, and I said, I don't want to be in that situation. I don't want to be in jail. I don't want to get somebody pregnant and then I'm what's that word? Statistic, you know. But there's some gods that's known and unknown to me in spirits. Even though my mother and my sister, they passed away, they still come and visit me.
Okay.
So this is the strength I got. Like I said, I was initiated last year to be a Kemetic priest. I left the temple this year because I had slightly cracked open my pineal gland.
I don't even know. I don't even know what a pineal gland is, my brother. I don't even know.
It's on YouTube. That's why I researched it. But I wanted to see, was this thing real? So I sat down, I started meditating, and I have I guess a Tibetan meditation bowl with the stick. You go around, I put some water in it. You
It's
see,
a
like,
singing bowl. I know what you're talking about.
yeah. So I seen the currents and everything. I darkened my room, and I meditated and everything. The middle of my forehead, because they said that the pineal gland, the third eye, is right here. I started to feel electrical current and start going round and round. Something came, I guess, through a portal. Something was in my room moving things around. Now, some unknown spirit said, listen, we could teach you. There's a female voice. So before I even joined the Kemetic temple, the priestess that initiated me, I was dealing with spirits when I was a child, because me and my mother used to always talk about these things. My mother was a Christian minister. And my sister that passed away, she was a Christian minister. You know, we was raised up in church. Church is not for me. Some people try to pull me into the Hebrew Israelite thing and Islam. You know, but I never went with it because I seen things wasn't right with them. So
wait, stop. All right. So Miss K says she respects your ways and she admires you. Then someone asked me, did you have kids? And I said, no, you don't have kids, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then someone asked about voodooism and witchcraft. Does that, none of that applies to you, correct?
Well, you could say voodoo probably.
Voodooism?
Yeah, and juju. But I didn't study under nobody. I learned these things on my own by doing it. Let me show you something real quick.
But here's what I'm not. Wait. No. Here's what I need you to understand. You're talking to someone, me, who primarily doesn't even understand voodooism or witchcraft or Kemetic science. And you're talking about Kemetics and Buddhism. I want to know how that goes together. See, what I'm trying to do is understand your spirit, because you seem very spiritual. You seem very open. I just need to know what it is that you're studying. So
it's the same thing. I'm still a child in the stuff, but let me go back to when I was in the temple and when I cracked open my gland. The priestess, she was happy that I told him I'm leaving the temple because I don't want to be an elder. I'm no longer a priest in training because there was some differences and everything and stuff between us. Let her know I was already doing things before you ever came here. And I said, the problem I have with religion and man trying to control man. Soncerae, I'm discovering these things on my own. On my own. I go outside and I hug trees. Now I don't care if my neighbors think I'm crazy. I go down and dress in my whites and go down to the park and
I
get in
do
the water. Huh?
that. I do that.
There's nothing
People
wrong
be
with it.
looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah. I go. That's why I love hot weather, and I don't like cold weather because I had to get by the water because the temple I was in, it was a water temple. So I can't wait to get down to the ocean. We surrounded by water up here in Long Island. So I dress in my whites. Sometimes I have another friend with me. We understand because she beat drums, play drums, and we take offerings, fruits, and give it to the spirit, so our ancestors and the water goddess. I don't need, just like I told the priestess, I don't really need no reverend or imam or rabbi telling me what I need to do. I go within the spirit that was already there in me, that was already inside of me. That's why I can stand before you and conversate with you, because I'm not going by what flesh, because man and woman will fail you every time. You got to go inside yourself and learn about yourself. I had to learn to be true to myself. I had to learn to stop lying to myself. I had to learn to love myself. So this is my strength.
Well, that's why I'm trying to understand. So here's what I'm confused about. So you know me, you don't know me. When I tell people I'm Buddhist, right? It's so they can understand where I'm headed towards. Okay. As I sit here and I try to sift through whatever beliefs or spirituality that I want to have, when I try to explain my metaphysical beliefs to people, there is no title for it. So if someone says to me, "What do you believe in? Do you believe in God? Are you Christian? Are you blah blah blah?" And because I used to be a minister, I no longer say Christian.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was Buddhist for the time period I was, but I noticed that people were starting to worship Buddha. So when I tell people I'm Buddhist, I have to also say behind that I do not worship Buddha. Buddha is a teacher to me, just like Jesus Christ is a teacher.
Yeah.
There's no worship there. So when I'm trying to explain my spirit, it's very, very difficult for me to pick a religion. So the only thing that's closest to it is Buddhism. That's why I always say I'm Buddhist.
Mm-hmm.
But they teach Buddhists not to have a deity. I have a deity. I believe, now, let me rephrase that. I don't have a deity. I believe that there is a higher power. I believe that the universe is my source of strength and energy.
Yes, exactly.
So it's very hard to explain that, though. And so are you having a difficult time explaining to me right now what your religion is? Because I asked you about Buddhism, I asked you about witchcraft.
Okay.
They're in the chat talking about Yoruba right now. They're talking about.
I study Yoruba, but I don't have no first of all, I don't have no religion. I'm spiritual. I really don't care too much for titles.
Right.
Because in the temple they said, so well, you're an elder and you're a priest. And I said, I don't need no title. I just want one who will speak for me. That's it. I don't need no big name and Amin Ra and whatever name you want to carry and everything. I just want my work to do. Me, I do not believe in no God, because to me, these deities are not a belief. They're a reality. And I have seen them and I talk with them. Because to me, the word believe is to be lied to. Because you drop the VE off, it's be lied. You're being lied to. So I don't have a belief. I have a reality. Why? Because I'm dealing with nature. So when I was in the temple, the priest said, well, you got to study the what's that? The 42 laws of the goddess Ma'at. And I said, I'm familiar with that, but I said, I don't need to study. I said, that's already programmed in me. I already know if I do something wrong to somebody, I had the opportunity to check myself and go back and apologize to that person. Now, if I go back to and I apologize to that person, then it's all good. Now, that person accept my apology is all good. If they don't, that's on them. So I'm going within me. And that supersedes over man, because this is just my opinion. All religions was made to control people.
True.
That's why I leave Christianity. I was raised up in the holy church, and they was telling me you want to be a minister and everything, consuming a lot of potato salad and fried chicken and cornbread. So now I go inside me because I always reboot back to myself. Where did you come from? Before you came out of your mother's womb, I was in darkness. I was in space. And the voice said, that's what you need to get back to. That's what you need to get back to. And a lot of people think I'm crazy. I am not a human. I am not a human. I am a spirit.
Yes. Having a human experience.
Yes,
I try to explain that. I try to explain. I just feel.
Stop explaining to people. If
Well, they keep
don't
asking. I want people to understand I am a spirit and this is my vehicle and I'm just driving it. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I'm trying to, and you can't tell me not to answer people's questions because I'm a leader and I have people, you know, I encourage to look inside themselves. I'm their guide to some degree. So when they ask me about my spirit or my mind or my beliefs, I try to come up with the best language and explanation I can to get them to understand where I stand.
I understand you. For me, I stopped explaining because when I dress in my garment and I have my turban on and stuff, people ask me, you know, some stupid questions and everything. And after a while, I just get tired of it. And I tell them because they say, well, what religion are you? I said, I'm not a religion. Well, what are you into? I'm into me and the things that's outside of me.
Do you watch
I don't
Brother
watch.
Polite? No.
Oh, I know. I
Brother
met
Polite?
Polite. I met Polite when he was up here in New York.
I thought he lived in New York.
Yeah, he's from New York, but he's out there on the West Coast.
Okay.
I
What do you
went to
think
one of his.
about him?
What do I think about Brother Polite?
Yes.
I think the brother's doing what he's supposed to do. He got his 3 queens with him. You know, I heard some bad things, but
well,
I'm gonna like this.
About everybody.
Yeah. So you know, but the brother got himself together, and he got 3 queens backing him up. Ain't nothing bad I could say about that because once a brother get his stuff together, listen, black women don't mind supporting a brother when the brother's doing right. But when the brother's doing wrong, and a lot of sisters make wrong choices, getting with a bum, then you're gonna have problems. Or vice versa, a good brother get with some bum sister.
Do you realize that out of all of the men that I've dated my entire life, I believe only one of them was spiritually where he needed to be? And I noticed that most of the men that I was having the most issues with, they either didn't have a belief system, they didn't have any type of spirituality whatsoever. And
Yeah,
those are the ones I usually have an issue with.
yeah, that because women and children are more spiritual. Men are spiritual, but you're more spiritual. The priestess, when I came to her temple, we was dating each other. And one thing,
Hold on.
okay,
At what point does a queen transition into a concubine? I don't think that that ever happens. That queens do not do that. So I want to say this to this young man who was in the chat. Um, I think you're like 22, right? A queen does not transition into anything other than something that's higher. To me, a concubine is something lower. To me, and when I'm talking to you guys, I always talk about how I am queen, and it's kind of offensive that you would even think that a queen would transition into a concubine. But you say that Brother Polite, Fletcher, you're saying that Brother Polite has 4 or 5 queens now. So I'm assuming that's where Y Trims got this whole when does a queen transition into a concubine type of thing. Um, to me, this whole polyamory, because everybody knows I'm polyamorous, right? Um, to me, a concubine is a side piece. It's not a queen or a person that's someone on the side. That's not there's no transition. You know what I mean? But anyway, so do you, Harry?
Yes.
What do you think about polyamory?
Well, I don't know exactly what that is. This is
It's what you said about Brother Polite and his 3 queens.
oh
It's basically poly. It's just having more than one.
well, for what little studies I did, for a man to take on a second and third wife, he had to ask his first wife, could he have a second or third wife? And not only that, she go and choose. If she told him no, then he couldn't do it. So now the men done changed it around that the woman don't have no say so.
That's interesting because even when I first decided to be polyamorous, I told the guy that I was with then, and this was like when I first decided this was 5 years ago, and I stepped into the swingers lifestyle, and we would go to the swingers parties, and I worked at the club, the swingers club, so that's how we ended up at the parties to begin with. And I used to tell him, if there's a woman inside of this room that you want to do something with, that's fine with me, but you have to introduce me to this woman because I have to, number one, understand this woman's spirit and her body,
Yeah.
and if those two are healthy, then we can go ahead with the process. But
Yeah,
if my vibes are telling me that something is wrong, I don't want to do it.
exactly.
And I said that's the only rule we got. You
Yeah,
introduce me to the chick. If I tell you no, we done with it. But
exactly.
that's what ended up breaking up my last situation because he went and decided to be with women without me, and that's why I ended up breaking up with him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he does something like that, then it's in violation. If I was going to get in something like that, I'll go back to the ancient way. I'll ask my first wife and honor that. I seen that. I don't know what tribe, but some tribes in Africa, a sister can have more than one male lover.
Yeah, that's true. But
You know?
see, here's another thing that this Watrams person is okay. Sorry to inform you. You said according to the Bible, King Solomon had 1,000 wives, but the Bible refers to those wives as concubines. That's not true. King Solomon had 1,000 wives, and then he had like 800 concubines. It's two different things. The Bible didn't address his wives as concubines. He had a separate set of concubines. So you need to read that part of the Bible over again because that's not accurate. Polyamory is multiple love interests. That's responsible non-monogamy, and polygamy is multiple spouses, meaning husband and wife. So you
Oh,
right about that.
okay, now I understand. Oh wow,
Yeah.
just learned something.
Polyamory is you have a whole bunch of you might have a whole bunch of just girlfriends and they all know each other. It isn't like you're secretly hiding them,
Yeah,
or it doesn't have
you're a
anything to
family.
do with sex either, because a lot of people think it's sex. You know?
Yeah, that's a family unit.
Yeah, it's like a family, it's building. It's building something, and a lot of people think when I say I'm polyamorous, that means I just want to sleep with whoever. No, that's not what that is. It's I want to build something with a group of people, and we all know each other and respect each other's stance or position inside of
Yeah,
that situation.
see, you educating me. You educating
About
me.
polyamory.
Yep,
A lot of
yep.
people
See,
don't know about it. They think that polyamory is multiple sex partners, but why would I put?
no, but
Why would I? That's what
that's
regular people doing.
but that's what I thought when I was talking to these two sisters that was swinging.
Well, see, swingers. Okay, so a swinger is a married couple who swings with another married couple, and it's about friendship and love.
Oh, see. Now, still again, you're educating because the two sisters they wasn't married.
So they wasn't swinging; they was just having a whole bunch of casual sex.
See, like I said, you educate me.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know what swinging really means. It means a married couple is having sex with another married couple, and when a single woman who is bisexual comes into the swingers lifestyle, they call her a unicorn. That's why my book was called Unicorn Atlanta,
Wow,
because
I'm learning.
by group, it's usually they have swingers groups where they have a group of married couples in their group whom they all sleep with each other, and they might decide to have an event with another swingers group who has a whole bunch of married couples, and they might do an event and they might decide to mesh and have an orgy. So I had a group, a swingers group of all single bisexual women, and I called the group Unicorn Atlanta. So when I wrote my book, I wanted people to understand what I learned from having my group Unicorn Atlanta, and that's when I decided that clearly I was bisexual if I felt comfortable with sleeping with women. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And
yeah,
that's when it registered to me
yeah. To me,
that I was bisexual.
those are number of families.
Yeah, it's like that's why I said it's somewhat like a cult.
Yeah,
That's why it's somewhat like a cult, but not as negative. But in Atlanta, they actually treat women who bad, treat women bad. They tell women it's okay for them to be sexually open, but then these same men who encourage these women to do that chastise them later for being sexually open. That's a cult
hypocrite.
to me. That's a mind control thing. That's a manipulation thing. That's not the same thing as a swingers group. A swingers group, they encourage love and friendship. Also, promoting safe sex is something that they do inside of the swingers lifestyle. It's a lot more positive than a lot of people think. And you
Yeah.
won't know that until you actually join it. Then you'll
Mhm.
see, oh shit, this shit is nothing like I thought. So that's what I wanted my book to be about, and it was supposed to be released in December, but I had to pull it back because of all of the negativity that had been sprinkled on top of it because of Chris
Yeah.
Law and Minister Jack. So
Mm.
trying to re-release this book and trying to get people to understand me as a person and what made me make these choices is what I want to do this year on my channel, so people can have a better, clearer understanding of what I was doing. And it has a lot to do with my spirit and who I have become in that 5 years from when I decided to no longer be in monogamous relationships.
Yeah. Well,
I know that was long-winded.
no,
Bye.
no, no, because like I said, I'm getting an education here. That's why I'm holding the goddess here to open my mind to be educated and everything. Because I'm more like this: if you don't learn nothing new every day, then something is wrong. You should be learning something new every day.
You should be learning something new every day, but a lot of people don't want to. They think learning is boring.
Well,
Or
I mean, they had to come into to their well being of themselves, because I thought the same thing too, and used to hate learning.
I
You know?
I'm thirsty for knowledge. Like if I go too long without reading a book or googling something or learning some information, my mind, it's like I get fuel from it. It's like, you know how
Mhm.
Superman is from with the sun? That's how
Yeah,
I am with knowledge. Like if I don't get it every day, I can't function right. It's almost because
yeah.
it's a muscle. Your brain is a muscle, so I have to exercise it every day. And if I don't, if I can't, I get lazy mentally.
Yeah, but it's funny that you said about the sun, because your name Ray, that's the sun god.
Well,
You
Soncerae,
know,
remember, I'm Cherokee Indian, part Cherokee Indian, and
yeah, we from the
Soncerae,
same people.
huh?
We from the same people.
And Soncerae is a Cherokee Indian name. It means sunrise, sunshine. So that's why my channel is called "Call Me Sunshine."
Yeah,
And people was thinking I changed it because of some other reason that had to do with Harlem Nights, because she had like a hoe that was, her
okay,
name was Sunshine. You remember?
okay.
Do you remember?
I don't think so.
You remember watching Harlem Nights, and the lady had all the hoes, and she said her vagina was like sunshine. Never mind.
I had to watch the movie again. I don't. But getting back to your name, it is beautiful and powerful, because when I step out of this house right now, it's not cloudy. It's the sun is out, so Ray is out right
Yeah,
now.
Della Reese. Della Reese, son of L. Listen, you
Okay, I remember.
El Iyana. Ayana, I just don't trust random people that I don't have an extensive relationship with my body. That's why I told you it's not casual people having casual sex. These people go out here and they get to know each other. They spend time with each other. They go out here and do trips together, cabin trips, cruises. These people build something together. So you're not having sex with a stranger. You get to
Yeah,
know them first.
that's beautiful. That's good.
Yeah, you don't just see some people do now, don't get it twisted. Some people come to the swingers club and they don't know who they dealing with and they just sleep with them. But that's just promiscuous people. That doesn't classify them as a swinger. It just
Yeah,
classifies them as someone who,
yeah,
likes to have casual sex. But for
yeah.
the most part, these
Mhm.
people get to know each other. You end up knowing who you're sleeping with.
Yeah, I really learned that there's many different cults out here, and I think we are a cult people, even though we don't notice it, and we are a ritual people. Because I've been to many rituals and been involved in rituals,
Hmm.
you know. So what you just explained to me, these are friends and family.
Yeah, that's what it end up being. Really?
That's a nation.
You end up like really know, and some people distance their lives because they ashamed of being a part of it to begin with, so they try to be in it and they might make friends, but at the same time they don't invite their kids or their family. Like I'm not saying that people should be swingers and then invite their kids to swing. No, what I'm saying is usually what ends up happening with swingers couples, they around each other so much that their kids end up meeting these people anyway. They're not watching them have sex or anything, but they have built like this friendship, like this rapport. You
Yeah.
know, you're calling uncle and aunt Susan and Terry to come over,
Mhm.
and your kids know them as uncle and aunt. And if you don't be careful, you're gonna confuse the fuck out your kids. Like a lot of people are like, how can you have this and raise children around this? It's because you have to be extremely honest with your kids. And there's some people out there that grew up in polyamorous and polygamous homes. And not
Yeah.
all of them are confused and fucked up. A lot of people think that some of these people are confused and fucked up. No, they're not. They get it. They understand. A lot of people just fail at communicating with their children. You could be in a home where it's a mother and a father, and their kids still end up being fucked up. I mean, look at the Menendez brothers. Their two
Yeah.
kids had everything. You hear me? They were so
Mhm.
rich and still ended up killing both of their parents. Not just their father, because they
Yeah.
try to say that the father was mean to the kids. These were
Yeah.
privileged children and still killed their parents.
Hmm.
So you never know. You never know when you're who you're dealing with when you meeting people, whether they're monogamous, whether they're polyamorous, whether they're black, whether they're white, whether they're male or female. If their spirit is not together, they're gonna be doing some fucked up shit. They're gonna be doing some
Yeah.
shit that saying some shit, walking around. But let me just say this, Mr. Spiritual Brother. Killing is never gonna be the answer. I don't care if it's degenerates or not. And I heard
Hmm.
O'Shea Duke and then Mr. Black say that shit in a Google Hangout that
Yeah.
we did when we was talking about IQ. You remember that?
Uh-huh.
They were talking about killing off. You got to
Yeah.
be, killing off all of the people that don't have a high IQ. Yeah, that
Yeah.
shit. Get that shit out your spirit. And I don't know what goddess you need to talk to get that out your
No, no, no.
spirit, but you need
Listen,
to get that
listen,
out.
listen. Everybody is a work in progress. I have to work on that, and they will have to talk to me about that. I tell you again, still again, us as men and women, going at times going to come out wrong, and that's when you have somebody correct you, and then it's up to you to really look inside yourself and check and correct things. So, I mean, that's why I'm here on your channel and checking everybody else's channel. Or I could just turn it off and say, I'm just gonna go with my life and just do whatever I want to do and hurt whatever what person I want to hurt and everything. Um, it's a learning thing. One thing I learned too, I learned from my mistakes, and there's nothing wrong having mistakes and even failure. And
That's
I
true.
try to tell this to my niece and nephew because it's a learning process. I'm learning about me. I'm expanding just like the universe, my spirit and my mind and everything. Um, That's the whole thing. Discovering yourself and getting to know yourself, and try to carry yourself into a beautiful light. So that way, some people will see that light in you. You know, everybody learn at a different pace too. I learned that. Some
That's
things
true.
I learn fast, and some things I don't, and I don't get upset with myself no more. And it's because everybody got their own pace.
That's
Some
true.
people can absorb knowledge very fast, and some people don't. But when I don't get something, and then when it hit me, and I said, okay, now I get it. Now I understand, because this it's a sister, it's a husband and wife team that makes my hats. And her husband had told me something a long time ago about dealing with people, and a lot of people in the neighborhood said, we don't know how you deal with these people messing with your car and messing with your house, and you didn't do no harm to them. And me and him, we got in a debate about it. I said, well, I would have did something and everything. And he said, man, he said, I would never let somebody try to change me to make me do evil. He said, I had to look inside myself, and I didn't understand. And then this is a couple years ago. Now I understand. I seen his wife at an art show, and I said, where's your husband at? She said, oh, he's at home. He was here, but he went home. I said, listen, I got to talk to him and tell him. I came into an understanding what he was talking about. So it took me a couple years to get it. And I said to myself still again, man, you're evolving.